of, I need to get out of this country. There are a few sort of recurring comments that I get under my videos, especially lately. And I get messages and I get emails, direct messages and emails, and sometimes in the Telegram discussion from Americans. The first message is some variation of, I need to get out of this country. This place is evil. I want to leave. Where can I go? And that desire to get out of America, as I interpret it, is supposed to signal disavowal. It's supposed to mean that the speaker or the person who's sending the message wants to distance themselves. They want to disassociate themselves from America's crimes, and they want to escape.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and the few sisters out there, onto the foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. I already know what he's going to say. And before he even say it, I'm going to say it. When everything was all going good, when everything was going high, when everything was at its peak, nobody had nothing to say. When everything in your world was going the way you wanted it, at your beck and call, you didn't have to cry for anything. You didn't cry for no injusticeness. You didn't cry for all the bullshit that was going on. You seen it, and your mouth was quiet because it did not affect you. But now, your worst possible nightmares are coming to fruition. Now everybody wants to cry. This ain't right. This shouldn't be like this. Like he's about to say, which I already know he's about to say. Like that's really gonna make a difference when it comes down to the judgment. All right. Now somebody asks a question. I don't know. I'll see how the spirit, how it works it out. Real quick, let me get that real quick. 2 scriptures real quick before he says anything. But Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. It says, moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. And that place of judgment is talking about the planet Earth. All right? Under the sun, everybody's under the sun. Spirits don't need to be under the sun. All right? We all under the sun. The sun circles the earth. So as the sun circles the earth, what tends to happen? It moves, everything moves. Days, time go by. So we all under that judgment. All right? Real quick, another precept. Psalms 7 and 11. Actually, there's another one. It says, the Most High judgeth the righteous, and the Most High is angry with the wicked every day. So the Lord judges the righteous, and he judges the wicked every single day. So every choice a man or a woman makes, without you knowing, well, you do know, is a ripple effect in time. And in time, depending on what you do, just like everything in this freaking world, depending on what you do, the decision that you make can make you or break you. All right? So now everybody out here is an assumption that they made the right choices. So they believe in their mind that every choice that they made was right until it was too late. Or they didn't care about the choice that they made. So everybody is judged daily. All right? That's the main thing. So now let me go over to let him say what he's going to say. So going back to what he said, just because you cry about what's going on now, how you want to distance yourself from what has become. Now, that doesn't make you an exempt for what's about to come. All right? That goes for everybody. Because there's a lot of people that will see wickedness and do nothing about it. And then when the wickedness is multiplied the way it is, then they want to cry about it, but not knowing they had the choice to stop that. All right? Let me let this play.
So you might read that as some sort of an awakening on their part, as some sort of a declaration that they're on our side, right? That they realize what a poisonous society they live in and they don't want any part of it. And I suppose on some level that may be true. That may be true on some level, but let's be honest. This is not remorse for the wickedness that America has done. Done to the Middle East, done to Africa, done to Asia, done all across the Western Hemisphere. No, this is not, if we're telling the truth, this is not a sudden stirring of conscience. Now, I'm not saying I don't have sympathy for it. I have sympathy for it, but let's call it what it is. Because you didn't feel any urgent need to escape America when America was making life unlivable for the people in the global South. You understand me? You only feel it when America has started making life harder for Americans.
And that is 100% factual. See, it was all good just a week ago. And I'm even going to make it more personal. It was all good when Native Americans were under poverty, the poverty line, and nobody really talked about them. It was all good when the Latinos was being treated like shit. It was all good when Jake, dark-skinned men, African Americans, Haitians, and so forth, when everything was going bad, when you could easily point out their flaws to make yourself feel better. Look at these people right here. Look how terrible they are. Look where they come from. Oh, it's all good when they're starving and they're in poverty, but some odd reason everybody wants to cry together, talking about, oh, we're going through it together now. What? Uh-huh. And that's the reality. He's gonna say when the Muslims and all this other stuff, which there's some truth to that. I'm not a savage person. I'm not, we don't. But there's nothing worse, Slakia. There's nothing worse in the planet Earth, like the scripture says, that has been done. Matter of fact, let me just get it. Everybody wants to point out their issues, their facts, and everything like that. The whole thing that's going on in the Middle East, the Palestinians, and how they've been treated terribly. Yeah, they have been treated terribly. But their treatment has nothing to compare to what the Lord has done unto his people. That's a difference. But nobody's going to realize that anyway, because everybody's going to go for what the hottest story is. That's what everybody does. They go with the hottest story is. All right? We got to help this person out. I remember they had what was it? Damn it. Okay, you had the damn, I forgot who wrote it. Was it Michael? Not the Heal the World. It was another joint. Damn, it was one of my favorites. They're all the stars at the particular time, and it was to generate money to help Africa and the starving children over there, and not realizing it was the United States of America that was actually doing that to those places, and yet there was still poor people here to this day. Go figure, huh? Daniel 9:12. It says, and he hath confirmed his words which he has spake against us and against our judges that judge us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven has been done upon Jerusalem. All right, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. And what's happened unto the Lord's chosen people is the worst thing in human history, because they could sit there and say, oh, they could look up at all the stats in the world. A lot of them say, oh, there's not enough there was not enough slave ships, and you guys are making this stuff, or you have the quote unquote Moors will sit there and diminish what took place. But you idiots, you imbeciles, who's recording everything? The unseen eye, the angels. The angels sit there and watch everything that's going on. And the Lord's people just don't come in the same shape and color. The Lord's people are scattered throughout the whole earth. So when the scripture says, as what has been done unto Jerusalem, the scripture is not lying. All right? Yeah, we always go into that the transatlantic slave trade because that's a true, actual fact, the thing that happened. That was a terrible thing that happened unto the Lord's people. And the Lord's people are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, looking like the other nations. So just because somebody may look different, a lot of them were Israelites. Because the curses will cleave on to the Lord's people. You see how you have to really think about things. So when these buffoons say certain things, I'm not knocking this guy, I'm just talking about in general. When these people sit there and tell you certain things about human travesty in history and try to diminish what happened to the nation of Israel, you got to understand what the dynamics, how the Lord did things. It is more than more than what the eye can see. All right, because the Lord's people come in different color and different shapes. Real quick, what's the other one I had in mind? Jeremiah. Jeremiah. I haven't read this in a while. Give me a second. Got to pity upon thee, right? Wow, actually I can't remember. Go figures. All right. It might be 17. Oh, Jeremiah 15:5. I should have known. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemourn thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? And that is another thing that Jake does. Jake like to hijack the travesty that's been done unto them. And of course, you have to point out who have done it. But Jake like to pretend like either it never happened or it was just something that just randomly happened. And the escape thing will always be either you got to be more educated or you have to do something else to get you out of that position. But nobody gives a fuck about what happens to Jake. All right? And Jake is just another short term for saying Israel. So all Israel, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, got the worst possible thing being done unto them. Okay? And is recorded. Everything is recorded. I am not lying. Everything's being recorded, even though man may see one thing, but the Lord is creating a whole World War III just to justify what they did unto the Lord's people. So there's certain things we don't know. Let me let this man play.
You and your family and your neighborhood. You didn't disavow and you didn't distance yourself from your nationality when the worst violence was being exported. Only now, when the marauders and the thugs and the mercenaries are turning their guns on you in your own streets. You understand me? You didn't feel any desperation to leave America when your bombs were falling on other people's heads.
That's facts. That's actually facts. See, it was all good when all of us was all nice and safe and being oppressed, which it is an oxymoron. But he's trying to use current events, which they have the rights to. But we have to use the overall evidence. And the overall evidence is always remain the same. Esau is oppressing the hell out of everyone, but his main focus has always been on the nation of Israel. Straight up.
You didn't feel it when you were enjoying the fruits of America's pillage abroad, when the insecurity and the terror was overseas and you felt safer because of it, when your shelves were stocked, when your gas was cheap, and your pizza was guaranteed delivery in 30 minutes or less, you were fine being an American and living in America. When we were the ones getting kidnapped by your masked men in our streets and thrown into the backs of unmarked black vans and locked up in cement boxes with blind...
And here's the God honest truth, what he's saying. So everything that he's saying has happened overseas. And I forgot who said it. It was another person that said it. And basically, now they're going to turn... Oh, it was him. Oh, the last time he said this. Now they're about to turn that same energy, that same thing, the same terror that they've been doing to the other people, right? And they bring it upon their own people. Now, here's a caveat about this. Right? This is ill. Who are the first ones they have treated a certain way? Israel. Even we was discussing it today at camp. The way the police in America treat the poor, which are mostly Jake, they've been trained by the IDF. Go figures. So now everything they have done, snatching people up, putting hoods over their head, loved ones not even knowing what the fuck happened to their loved ones. Okay? Looking for their loved ones. They might come back, they might not come back. And they're being tortured for information. Well, what they're doing right now with this new private military force that Orange Man has empowered. They snatching people up. You don't even know if where your loved one's at, period. All right? Taking around all your rights. So they're doing the same exact thing that they've been doing on to the other people. And they're doing it, and it so happens, like I said, it so happens they probably most likely they're doing to Jake over there. Okay? Or they're just gonna do it to the heathens. Who knows? I don't know who they are in the spirit. I just go on what I'm saying. And then they turn around and then bring it to Jake over here. Because the first people then you had a whole bunch of international different nations that's come into America. And all those international people, what they've been doing. They're going after Jake. That's all they're going after. All they're going after is Jake. All right? America has issues with China. America has issues with the people in the Middle East. Yet, they're not even going after them. They're going after Jake. Why is that? How is somebody that's from Mexico who's working in the kitchen somewhere, working 3 jobs, how he's a fucking threat to national security? Make that make sense. Although he's right, yet he's still wrong. And it's not his fault. He's trying to put everybody under the umbrella or the torturous rack, what America has done, which he's completely correct. But everything that they start with Jake. And then they do it to other nations because we're subject unto them. Prime example, the Tuskegee experiment. And they did it to simultaneously did it to the Jake in South America. Gave them known sexually transmitted diseases and had the cure all along, but it's allowed them to to live as a guinea pig. And living as a guinea pig gave them the opportunity to do what? See how far they can go. Which is just terrible. So I hear where this man's coming from, but I don't hear it because the main people that's been throughout history to be screwed over is the Lord's people.
Folds on, beaten and electrocuted and humiliated to preserve your democracy. You weren't applying for a passport then. You weren't Googling which country in Asia has the lowest currency against the dollar. At that time, you understand, where was there moral urgency when the United States was sanctioning and starving whole societies? You didn't say I need to get out of this country because it's doing evil actively across the earth and I want...
And the main target, the main people that complains about everything and that can make a difference. See, Jake can't get out there and do anything. All right? You got like what, like a handful of people? Yeah, women that went to live in Russia and then like thinking that they're gonna escape racism. But wherever you go, because those curses follow us. So wherever Jake goes, those curses will cleave onto Jake. All right? But the main people that really wants to run and escape is the people that's guilty. The people that's been enjoying the fruits of their forefathers. That's who really all these messages are targeting. Okay? This is why the scripture says, let me get that real quick. Everything is coming to a full circle. All right? Everything's coming to a full circle. I believe it's 41, 8 or 7. It says, Sirach 41 and 7. The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. Hey, just like a fucking rat. I mean, literally a rat. When it knows it's about to go perish, it will do whatever it takes in order to survive. You know, a rat, despite we talk bad about rats, they have a survival instinct that is very remarkable. So this is the same thing that applies to Esau today. A lot of their children is complaining about the ungodly fathers, and they're trying to jump to the other side because they know what's about to come up to them. The greatest fear of Esau and all these other nations is the reproach that they about to get. And that's why they want to, as much as they want to diminish what's been done to Israel and focus on another group of individuals, but not knowing that, like I said, most likely there's some of those other groups that there are Israelites amongst them. So you're damned if you do. Period. It says, "Woe be unto the ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High. For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction." So they can have plenty of children, but it's for their own demise, for their own destruction. And there's a great reproach that's going to take place. Job 21:17 or 15. I'm sorry, it is my favorite one too. I should have known better. 27. Jeremiah 27 and 14. No, 13. This is the portion of the wicked man with the Most High, the heritage of the oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. So if they do multiply, it's for their own demise, their own destruction. Somebody has to pay for what your forefathers has done, and your current leaders are continuously trying to do. So it's like no matter what damn if they do, damn if they don't. They're damned. That's the point. And Tawadi Yahabashim Yahusha for that. Go to this.
No part of it. You didn't say that then. When the evil was directed outwards, let's be honest. You didn't disavow that evil until it stopped paying dividends. Let's tell the truth. Until it stopped paying dividends and it started wanting to collect back from you. You didn't...
You gotta love it, man. That's why, hey, this dude right here, sometimes he be on point, man. But you gotta love it. Payback's a bitch. You do evil. Matter of fact, since I'm in Job 4:8, it says, even as I seen they that plow iniquity, which is sin, increase. All right, the laws that they pass from the actually robbing and destroying, genocide, murder, the enslavement, all these things, and then some. This is iniquity increased, and sown wickedness reap the same. It says, even as I seen they that plow iniquity and sown wickedness reap the same. So it's all about futuristic investment. So you invested yourself into some wickedness. Hey, like I said, it was all good when it was Jake that was in the hood that was doing bad. And when Jake started to come out the hood and go into the suburbs and kind of showing that they could be functional in society, you hated them then. So now everybody's catching it. Everybody realizing, you'll see tons of videos of people complaining about working a 9 to 5, working about they're not getting paid enough. All these things, all right? All these things. Now they want to complain about it. But what did they sow? What did Esau and his offspring sow into this world? They whack-ass comedies and so forth. So, hey, it's a beautiful thing when the world realizes who's really the problem child.
Mind the evil when it was being sent out, but you sure can't stand it once it comes home. And your panic now about having to face what you made millions upon millions of innocent people all around the world face, we're supposed to take that as the awakening of your conscience. No, you enjoyed the meal, but now you want to skip out on the bill. I'm just telling you like it is. Now suddenly, the same people who once treated the horrors that their country was committing in the global south, they treated those horrors as nothing but abstract background noise in their lives. Now those same people are looking for escape routes to the global south. And that's supposed to be a sign of your virtue? Look, when America's death squads were swarming all over the lands of the global south, these people were sipping their cappuccinos and debating about pronouns. You understand? You had your pop music volume turned all the way up to drown out the sounds of our screaming and weeping.
And let me back that up too. When something happens anywhere, within a week or two, it'll be on the news, hands down. All of a sudden, it would completely disappear out of air, like it never happened. And that's what the majority of people in the world, mainly in America, has been grown accustomed to. You forget, you don't even forgive, you just forget things. So the same poor person that you gave a couple of dollars to, when you see that person again, is like, oh, that guy again. Well, you haven't helped the condition. All right, you didn't make the person's job easier. You gave, which may be good in some cases. And that's the reason why I said it like that. But it doesn't change the fact what happened. All right, the damage is already has been done. I'm not talking about the homeless person you give money to. I'm just talking about in general. The damage has already been done. So when people go out there and act like I did my part, because that's how Esau trained the majority of people. That's how they think. Oh, I volunteered here this Saturday out of my personal life, so I'm giving back to my community. That's why the scripture says about Proverbs 12:10, that the tender mercy of the wicked is cruel, because it doesn't change the fact that person, and the reason why people are homeless and people going through things is not the people that's aiding them, it's the actual government that's ensuring their poverty. Right now, the majority of people are all under poverty. We all under the poverty line, unless you're making over 100,000 and was 104,000 $104,000 a year. They're saying that you're in the poverty line. So that's the majority of people. Straight up. So how do you combat that? You don't. You don't. All right? You just got to go through it. So now the world's starting to see, especially here in America, when you made that choice, like Matrix, y'all all took the blue pill. All right, y'all wanted to remain y'all wanted to remain blind, and since y'all remain blind, all these things are happening around you that you pretended like it never existed. That's why why you think majority of these people are on drugs? They don't want to hear the problem. But now this shit's starting to catch up. Reality's starting to sink in. All right, reality's starting to sink in, and it's not very tasty at all. Okay, it's not tasty. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good no more, because now you have to deal with what has been done, and then we all have been participating in. That's a sad truth. Voluntary and not voluntary. Everybody's participating in the demise of society all around the world.
But now they're coming for you and your neighbors. They're coming for you. They're sealing off your country so no one can get in or out. And now you're starting to feel like a fish in a barrel. You're starting to feel like a fish in the barrel, and the shotguns are all pointed at you. And right at that moment, suddenly you have an epiphany about how evil your country is. When just basically a watered down version of the colonial machinery, right, is pressing down on you now with the militarized police, with the ICE, with the crackdowns, the clampdowns, the restrictions on speech, restrictions on protest, intensifying belligerence by the state. You got inflation.
That's why you have people like Alex Jones and all this other stuff, and try to spin it, saying, "Oh, it's not about a black and white thing," and you can hear it all from all these conservative talking points, trying to dismiss the color thing and dismiss that, but yet when something go bad, oh, they're not saying nothing wrong. They when they talk bad about black people, look at them. So that's why we don't believe you. We don't believe none of the shit that these people be saying. All right, and then they're like, what was this bitch name? Just Pearls or something like that, and she sat there and told a panel of black women that they love criminals. She's half right, but that's a stereotype that majority of people went by, right? And she's like, and the woman was trying to defend it, so she wanted to talk to some Jake lawyer, some black dude, and he broke her down and said, nah. And then she tried to make it seem like, oh no, but white women, they love serial killers and this, that, to the third. Like, so it's always about the blame game, as long as they could blame somebody else for something that's going wrong. So when you tell them like what's going on with Venezuela today and how the U.S. don't have the rights, and they'll give you like, well, this guy over here, he did this and that, because they just go by what the current people that's in position of power are conveying to. So this is all games that's being done. That's it, But and who's playing that game? Who can instead of facing their responsibility of what they have done, they always have somebody else to point at. And that's all it's been. It's about oh, we didn't do it, but look how worse these people are. Okay, that's why what scripture says. Uh, Psalms 55. I always get these two mixed up, but it's alright. And 20. It says, that sittest and speakest against thy brother, that slander thy own mother's sons. These things have thou kept. Matter of fact, what else supposed to go up? No, yep. It says, verse 19, that givest thy mouth to evil, thy tongue frameth deceit, that slanderest that sittest and speaketh against thy brother. Who's Esau's brother? Jacob. The true Israelites. All right. There's a public campaign to come against every single Israelite that's out there. So everything that he's saying is true. As long as they felt good about putting all their problems on Jake, then there was no fucking problem. Absolutely no problem at all. That's the God honest truth. All right. They was able to for years do that. Now they can't. To this moment, they trying to do that. Whatever's going wrong in society is always Jake. That's what happened to Kirk. What's his name? I was gonna say Kirk Franklin. Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was going around telling his people about gang shootings when it was his people that punched his lights out. You see how that works out? It says that's what it was a relief, something that was good, because that's all Esau ever did. It's like that child that goes to his friend's house, and when that child goes to his friend's house, the parents know how shitty their children are. So instead of saying, "Oh, my child is this and that," nah, they want to blame the other person's child that came over. All right. Oh, your child is this, your child is that. And that's exactly what Esau is known for. It says that slanders thy own mother's son. Slanders. A blemish, fault. They find fault. So they practice on us and they do it to everybody else. That's just the way it is. These things that has done, I kept silence. Thy thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. So the Lord is in the correction mode right now. The Lord is correcting Esau. All these international things that's happening, where all these nations are hating Esau, that's not by accident. All right? They had enough. The only ones that's keeping Esau afloat is you Israelites. Because you love Esau like they can't do no dirty. So now what they've done to the other nations, they doing it, they coming and from their experience for how they tortured everybody else out there, they're about to come towards you. This is why Trump also said about the military that they should be practiced in urban streets. Roughly paraphrasing. Meaning that's why they wanted to send troops to Chicago and all these major cities. So when they get all the things that they do after they torture their own citizens, because they've been perfecting that torture in the other nations. Amazing, huh? They've been torturing and harming all these other nations. Now they want to bring it to you Israelites. And then when they done, because remember, Jacob's trouble is the world's trouble. Jeremiah 30:7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that is none like it. is even in the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Jacob's trouble is the world's trouble. Jacob's trouble is the world's trouble. So whatever they do out there, they mainly want to do it to Jacob. Finish this off.
Deprivation, job layoffs, a comparatively mild version of the neoliberal program that you rammed through economy after economy after economy in the global south, breaking the backs of one country after another.
And if you don't know what the global south, he's talking about the northern kingdom, right? From Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Ephraim, all of them, all right? Americans' punching bag has always been in South America and the Caribbean islands. It is always, and there was no complaints.
And now you want out. Now you want out because you're getting a mild version of that. I mean, think about it. This is not moral outrage. It's outrage about privilege reduction. It's consequence avoidance. The action.
Facts. They fear the approach that they're getting. I know it's going to be this long, but it's spirit, whatever. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And Esau is well known for that. That's why they trying to run. Who gave this? Trump gave like what, a couple billions of dollars to Argentina because a certain group of people that's here. They trying to set up shop if everything fails in the Middle East, that they can have places, communities. That's why they have a certain president in Mexico. All right, so they could easily bring these people in. Everything else is just an experiment. That's all.
Of your country against everyone else never prompted you to emigrate. But when the consequences of those actions come, you start packing your bags.
So now you're gonna be reproached for the shit that you did. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.